Hi, I'm Leslie Coplin, social worker and prevention and outreach coordinator at YWCA Greenwich, speaking with licensed clinical social worker Robin Linder about practical parenting.
Hi, Leslie.
So, Robin, last time we started to talk about the sometimes difficult conversations that we all really need to be having right now in order to become more authentically anti racist. And many people we know are looking for ways to do that, right? To really break it down and find language to incorporate on a personal level and on a parental one as well. So, we spoke about imparting the foundation of true empathy. In other words, the ability to take in and respect the experience of another person as a great place to start to really widen our family's circle of concern, the people that we care about.
Right. And then just so as a quick reminder, I'm going to just put out there that empathy is not the same as sympathy because we get asked this a lot. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone, and empathy is feeling with someone. And it's really not up to us to always fix someone's problems, but we can always listen and show that we care. And the good news also here is that empathy is a skill we can teach and we can get better at it with practice. I really believe fostering empathy in our kids is a very important component in raising kids who are anti-racist. So let's go a little bit further on this and break down the components that make up empathy, and then we can talk more about how to impart this to our kids.
Sure. So maybe let's actually use nursing scholar Teresa Wiseman's framework to break this down about how this might work to teach our kids. Her work came up time after time when we were preparing to talk about empathy here. So basically, she identified four attributes of empathy that really tie it all together. So maybe let's take turns sharing them and even use an example of how we can use this approach to teach our kids.
Great.
Okay, so the first is perspective taking, right? Which is really just to be able to see the world as others see it. Your life experience might be very different, yet you can really strive to see things as another person would see them. So let's use that classic example of a child, maybe an older sibling, in a heated conflict with their younger sibling over what to watch on the single TV. They want to watch something new that all their friends think is cool and are talking about, but the little one just wants to watch Frozen 2 again. And instead of yelling or maybe even getting physical with their younger sibling, they remember when they were little as well and they were playing Frozen 1 on repeat. And so maybe even then they can begin to, I don't know, let it go. Let it go. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist.
All right. Now, when you strive to see things as others do, you want to do it non judgmentally, which is the second attribute. I'm not even going to talk about let it go. Remember, empathy is not about you and your experience. So, with the TV example, a non judgmental stance would be to recognize your sibling's TV tantrum as frustration, not to judge it as your younger brother is some kind of a horrible monster, right? Because empathy really has to be a judgment free zone.
Right. So the third attribute is to really look for and then recognize the emotion in another person. So to demonstrate that you're really understanding their feelings, it's labeling the emotions you see first, like you just said, as frustration or disappointment or whatever it is that you're noticing. And then reminding yourself that if you were their age in their situation, you would probably feel pretty frustrated too.
Of course, right? And then once you recognize the emotion, the fourth attribute would be to communicate that understanding to the person. And one way to do that, using our example, would be to validate. So the older sibling could say, "Hey, buddy, I know you're really upset about this. I get it. Let's figure it out together." And then remember, we're never going to get this right all the time and be expert empathizers in every situation. So if you're in a situation where you don't know what to say, just say that. The sibling could just say, "I don't even know what to say, but I can see you're upset," or, "Hey, I'm here to listen."
Right, because we can't prevent disagreements or differences in opinion, especially when we're talking about siblings, right? But these steps really can take that situation, make a difference, and then create a stronger connection through that difference. And we talk a lot about the importance of modeling in parenting in general, but it seems to me that with empathy, it's particularly something that we can teach by example. Children really do notice how we treat others and, of course, how we treat them. So we really, really have to walk the walk when it comes to teaching empathy.
Absolutely. Just like you said, they notice how we respond to their emotional and physical needs. So they know if we're taking a genuine interest in their concerns. They notice, for example, if we support and encourage them in things that are special to them, instead of just pushing them toward the things that interest us. And these things make a big difference to them. And then so important is that they really learn so much from watching us with others, whether it's how we're treating a server in a restaurant or a friend, attendant at a gas station, a neighbor, a delivery person, their grandparents, everyone.
Right. And I also think that we really can, if our goal is really to raise kids who care about others, then we need to demonstrate that care personally. We need to show them that it's a critical family value. And if we want to raise these kids who we want to be happy, we hear that a lot. People want to raise their kids to be happy. We really want to include a quality of kindness. So maybe we can strive to raise children who are both happy and kind.
I love that. And we already mentioned that we have to practice empathy to get good at it. I think you can never start too young, and don't worry, it's never too late. It's the same like learning a language. It's definitely something we can learn. And I would say make it a point to talk to your children about, like, for example, classmates or friends who might be struggling or feeling isolated, and really discuss with them how they could show empathy to that person. You want to notice when your child or anyone is demonstrating empathy and point it out and praise it, because that really helps them to learn. And then most importantly, don't be afraid to notice when an opportunity is missed, by yourself or your child and showing a lack of empathy. This is a perfect time to talk to them about why that can be so harmful and what they or you or anyone could have done differently.
Right. And you can use age appropriate examples from books, movies, or shows, or even the movement behind Black Lives Matter to start these conversations. I also think you really have to meet kids where they are with this. Initially, children may just naturally empathize with their small circle of friends or family, right? But we really need to teach them to have empathy for people outside of that comfort zone, basically to expand that circle of concern that we're talking about, without regard for how similar or how different someone is from them, to connect just as person to person, really human to human.
Oh, it's so important. Also, let's remember that teaching and practicing empathy, it's not everything we need to do. At the same time, it's one very important thing we can do to raise kids who are anti-racist, kids who they're really able to be curious and see things from someone else's perspective. And of course, we all deserve to do this for one another, especially now, if we're going to make progress in calling out and striving to erase racism.
So important. So we'll be back again next time on Practical Parenting, and you can always write us at community.ed at ywcagreenwich.org. Until then, be safe, stay well, and thanks for watching.